So let's talk about map in this video. So map is a little different than all the data structure we talked about before. Map, actually they will contain all the data entry. So each data entry, they have the key and the corresponding element value. So for example, you will see your key is for each employee, they have their social security number. So that's why here is we call the key. So this key actually they have the corresponding value for the employee. So that's we call they have the data entry in the map. Before, when we talk about all the other data structure, actually we only have this part, right? Because you see, no matter you are array list, you just push the student. If you have a stack, you push the student. So then they can either using the index for the array list to access that. Or you see here in the set, we just push the value. And they have no duplicate value, but they have different order. But map is different. Map is every time when we store the data, they are a pair. The pair is what? Because before when you're using the array, you need to access by the index. So here we don't using the index, we use the key. So the index before you always is integer, but in the map when using the key, they can be any data type. For example, social security number maybe is long int, or I can consider they are string. So you give me the social security number, you give me the key, I will give you the corresponding value. So that's why whenever you want to add a new value into the map, you need to give me the corresponding key and their value. Or you want to retrieve the data, you need to give me the key, I can give you the value. So that's why the key and the value is the entry we store in the map. The key works like the index in the array or array list, but they only can be the integer. But in map, the key can be any data type object. So that's the interface for the map. Each map, they contain the entry with the key and the data value. So that's why here we have different kind of map. We can have sorted map, but they sorted according to the key. So then you have abstract map. Then the concrete class, actually they are very similar to the set. They have the tree map, they have hash map, they have link hash map. So you will see the structure kind of like before for the set, but the map we're using the key to access the map. So when you have the hash map, actually they just according to the key value is passing. I'm using the key object to find the hash code. So then I have my entry saved in that location. So when you want to display the content from the hash map, they may not in any specific order according to the key. But if we really want to have maintained in the order, so then you can have, we call the link hash map. So they will according to the order you push the key into the map, they will display. Or we can have the tree map. So the same thing, your tree map will be either ascending order or the ascending order, but they are compare the key value to do in the order. So you can get an object from a map using a key. You also need to use a key to put the object into the map. So that's the difference between map. So in the map interface, you will see here, every time when you create a map, right, your angle bracket actually have two data type. The first one is key, the second one is value. So then again, right, you can use in the content key, give me the key, I told you, do I have this key or not? So then you also can do the content value, only check the value. So then you clear all the key set in the map. You can have entry set. So this entry set, actually they display all the nodes for you into a set. So then here actually they're using the entry So what does that mean in the entry? Just because, like earlier we said, remember, see, every data actually we store in the map, they are a pair with key and value. So that's why here your entry set, they just, when you give it when you call the entry set, they just give you all the entry in a set. So that's why you need to specify one by one to see how you will display. So that's earlier we say, when you have a key to push the value, right, you specify key and the value to, so you put. So when you want to get the value, you specify your key. You also can get the key set. So this one is the set only with the key. So then you can see how you want to play with the key. So you can remove according to the key. So that's why we can remove that V and we return the V. So that's the key, that's the map. So continue, we see the concrete map class. Just like earlier I said, the map concrete class, they are very similar to the set. They have hash map, they have link hash map. Just like before we have HashSet and the link HashSet. So then you have the sorted order, that's a tree map. So the same thing, that's focused on our hash map first. So your hash map, you can create default constructor, or you can using the initial capacity, then you give the load factor. Or you can specify. So this one will be different. Not all the collection can be the hash map. We need to have another map. They have the relationship, the key extends from the K here. So then you can have any unknown the value type, but they are based on the V. Because remember, we need to have the K for the data type for key, V for the value data type. So then in Java, we have pure object-oriented concept. So as long as they have the inheritance relationship, right, so then they can convert other map into the hash map. So let's go more detail. See how after the entry set, we were using the entry data from the set to display the information one by one. So after you call the entry set from your hash set or the tree set, they will return a set of entry. So this entry is the interface for the map interface. Each entry has their key value pair. So that's why after you have your entry, right? So then your entry key first, then value. You can get your key according to the entry. So each entry only have one key and one value. So you can get your key, get your value. And also you can change your value. Not change key. Yeah, you can change value. So the next example, let's see how we will create the hash map. Then we will talk about the tree map in the same example. The most important thing, we will show you how we will using the entry set to display the information one by one. So the first thing we see the hash map. So then we create a hash map. We use the string for the user name. Then we have the integer is for the user's age. So then we have the key is the name. So then your integer actually is the age. So we create a hash map. We're using a default constructor. So you can see here when you want to add the value one by one, since that's the first time, that's why you need to specify your key and the value together. So then we put Smith, Anderson, Lewis, Cook, and Lois with their age. So now when you want to display the entry in the hash map, because the hash map, the same thing, they did implement toString method. So that's why if you just want to display like this using the println, so that's how they display. So they just display the key, then follow with the equal sign, that's the value. So you will see here, earlier we had the Smith, Anderson, Lewis, Cook, and Lewis, right? So then you see, because your key, Lewis, duplicate. So that's what they do is, they display Lewis. But Lewis using what? They're using 27. So on the other hand, we can see when we add Smith 30, they add Smith. Anderson 31. Lewis 29. Beginning is 29. Then Cook is 29. So the next time when they see if you have the key, right? You see, because this one is the same key. So if the key already exists, they just overwrite the value. Because for this one, actually, we don't allow duplicate key. So when the key is the same, right, they just update the value. And you can see when they display one by one, they are not really follow any order. The reason is we're using the hash map. Hash map, the order actually is according to your hash code function, the data you display. So if you just want to simply display the key and the value, we can just do the call the toString method. But here also, if we want to have our data entry display more formal, right? For example, I told you the value we save is the age. How about we just display the age for Lewis is something, so the age for the Smith is something. Okay, so after we do that, so if we want to do that, we need to get all the set. So that's why you call the hash map, call the entry set. Then you have what? You have the set contain all the entry. Each entry is a key and the value. So we're still using the for each loop. So for your map entry set is string and integer. So that's for A. So then here, that came from our hash map entry set. So after you have this entry set, right, you see here, you can just print one by one. But also you can see here, when we do is we add, I just want to show you, we also can modify. Because after you have entry set, right, they are not constant value. So that's why here, after you have each entry set A, you can using the A to set the new value. We just get the old value, then we plus 1 for the new value. So then here you can display the age for the key. So you see this A is entry set. You get the key, display the key is, so then A get the value, you get the value display. So then you can see the order still follow the same order from here. But then each value will also be increment by 1. So that's the hash map, how to create. You can display the output just using the toString method or to using your hash map entry.